Have you ever felt like someone constantly disregards you? They don't listen, they break promises, and they make you feel invisible. If so, you might be experiencing a lack of respect without even realizing it. Key questions. What are the signs that someone doesn't respect you? Why do some people treat you this way, even when you've done nothing wrong? How can you protect your self-worth and regain confidence? Thesis statement. Respect is not something you have to beg for. If someone is not treating you with the dignity you deserve, it's time to recognize it and set firm boundaries. The hidden battle for respect. Imagine this, you're always there for a friend, yet when you need them, they disappear. Or you give your best at work, but your efforts go unnoticed. Over time, this silent neglect chips away at your confidence. The worst part? You start blaming yourself. But here's the truth, respect starts from within. When you allow certain behaviors to persist, they become the norm. It's not about being aggressive or demanding, it's about knowing your value and making sure others do too. What you'll discover in this video. 13 unmistakable signs someone doesn't respect you. The psychology behind why people treat you this way. Practical strategies to reclaim your power and confidence. Are you ready to take back control? Let's begin. Disrespect is not always obvious. Sometimes, it doesn't come in the form of harsh words or blatant insults but rather through subtle neglect, dismissiveness, and quiet belittlement. It can come from those closest to you, friends, colleagues, or even loved ones. Over time, you may start doubting yourself, wondering if you did something wrong. But the truth is, no one has the right to make you feel less valuable than you truly are. Have you ever poured your heart and effort into something, only for someone else to take all the credit? Imagine working tirelessly on a project at work, only to hear your boss or a colleague present it as if it was entirely their idea. Or perhaps you've been in a relationship where no matter how much you support, care, and sacrifice, your efforts are met with silence or entitlement rather than appreciation. This is one of the most subtle yet damaging signs of disrespect. People who do this are not just inconsiderate, they are actively diminishing your worth. They thrive on taking advantage of others and rewriting the narrative to suit themselves. The danger? Over time, you begin to question your value. You start believing that maybe your contributions weren't that significant, or that seeking recognition makes you seem needy. But here's the truth, if someone cannot acknowledge your worth, they do not deserve a place in your life. So what can you do? Recognize your value, start by validating yourself. List your contributions and remind yourself of what you bring to the table. Speak up, call them out, politely but firmly. You don't need to be aggressive, but you do need to set the record straight. Stop overgiving, if someone repeatedly takes you for granted, step back. Your energy should be invested in people who reciprocate. Remember, self-respect is not about demanding recognition, it's about refusing to stay in places where you are undervalued. Have you ever made plans with someone, only for them to cancel at the last minute with a weak excuse? Or perhaps they promised to help you with something important, yet when the time came, they were nowhere to be found. This pattern is not just frustrating, it's a sign of deep disrespect. When someone repeatedly breaks promises, they are showing you that your time, your expectations, and even your trust do not matter to them. Words are easy, but follow-through requires real integrity. The danger? Over time, you start doubting yourself. You begin lowering your expectations, accepting inconsistency, and making excuses for their behavior. But here's the truth, people who respect you will honor their commitments, because they understand that their words carry weight. So what can you do? Stop making excuses for them. If someone consistently lets you down, believe their actions over their words. Set boundaries, let them know that broken promises are not acceptable. If they can't keep their word, don't rely on them. Invest in reliable people, surround yourself with those who show up when they say they will, not those who disappear when you need them most. Remember, respect is not just about how someone speaks to you, it's about how they follow through on what they say. Have you ever noticed that some people only reach out to you when they need something? They vanish when you're struggling but suddenly appear when they want a favor. At first, you might brush it off, telling yourself, maybe they're just busy. But over time, a pattern emerges, one where you give, and they take. This is not friendship. This is not mutual respect. It's a transactional relationship where your worth is measured by how useful you are to them. The danger? You start to believe that your value comes from what you can offer, not from who you are. And the more you allow it, the more they exploit it. So what can you do? Recognize the imbalance. If someone is only present when they need something, but absent when you need support, acknowledge that reality. Set boundaries. You don't have to say yes to everyone. Learn to say no without guilt. Invest in real connections. Surround yourself with people who appreciate you for who you are, not just what you can do for them. Remember, you are not a tool for anyone's convenience. A true connection is based on reciprocity, not one-sided demands. Have you ever spoken, only to feel like your words disappeared into thin air? You're in a conversation, but they're not really listening. You share an idea, a thought, or even a concern, only to be met with silence or indifference. If this sounds familiar, you are dealing with someone who does not respect you. Being ignored is one of the most insidious forms of disrespect. It's not always loud or aggressive. Sometimes, it's the quiet dismissal of your voice, the subtle yet painful realization that your words don't hold weight in their world. The more this happens, the more you start questioning yourself, am I overreacting? Am I not important enough? But the truth is, when someone continuously ignores you, they are sending a clear message, you don't matter to me. And if they don't value your presence, why should you keep valuing theirs? So what can you do? Acknowledge the pattern. If someone repeatedly ignores you, recognize it for what it is, a sign of disrespect, not a reflection of your worth. Address it directly, instead of staying silent, call it out. I've noticed that when I speak, you don't respond. Is something wrong? Invest in people who listen. You deserve to be surrounded by those who respect your thoughts and contributions. Choose those who value you, not those who make you feel invisible. Remember, silence can be more harmful than words. If someone constantly ignores you, it's time to stop giving them your attention. Have you ever heard phrases like, "Oh come on, you're way too sensitive. Whatever, your opinions are always the same anyway." At first glance, these might seem like harmless jokes, but beneath the surface, they carry a hidden message, one designed to make you feel small. This is verbal manipulation, a subtle but powerful form of disrespect. People who use sarcasm and passive-aggressive comments as weapons often hide behind the excuse, "I was just joking." But make no mistake, these words are meant to diminish your confidence and assert control. The problem? The more you let it slide, the more they will push the limits, testing how much disrespect you're willing to tolerate. So what can you do? Call it out immediately. Instead of laughing along uncomfortably, say, "That wasn't funny." Why do you feel the need to say that? Set clear boundaries. If someone repeatedly disrespects you with sarcasm, limit your interactions with them. Recognize when a joke is actually a form of control. A true friend or partner lifts you up, not tears you down under the guise of humor. Takeaway: one cruel joke is enough to show someone's true intentions. Pay attention. Respect is not about what they say, it's about how they make you feel. Have you ever felt like you're walking on eggshells around someone? That no matter what you say, they could explode at any moment. A person who disrespects you will often use anger and intimidation as weapons to control you. They overreact to small things, making you feel like you are always at fault. They lash out verbally, using insults or passive-aggressive remarks to break your confidence. You start hesitating before expressing your opinions because you're afraid of their reaction. This is not normal. Respect does not come with fear. If someone truly values you, they will listen to you, even when they disagree. How do you deal with this? Stay calm and detached. when they raise their voice, don't match their energy. Instead, say, "I'll continue this conversation when we can talk respectfully." Don't reward their anger. If they throw tantrums to manipulate you, don't give in just to keep the peace. Reevaluate the relationship. If someone repeatedly makes you feel unsafe or anxious, ask yourself, why are you still tolerating it? Takeaway: no one has the right to make you feel small or afraid. True respect means being able to express yourself without fear of retaliation. Have you ever said no to someone, only to have them pressure you into doing it anyway? A person who doesn't respect you will repeatedly cross your boundaries. They may keep insisting after you've already refused. Guilt trip you by saying things like, "If you really cared about me, you'd do this." Push you into uncomfortable situations, knowing you won't fight back. This is not a misunderstanding, it's a deliberate test to see how much they can manipulate you. And the more you tolerate, the further they'll push. How can you reclaim control? Stand firm in your boundaries. If they won't take no for an answer, repeat yourself with confidence, "I already said no, and I'm not going to change my mind." Recognize emotional manipulation. If they try to guilt trip you, don't engage. Respond with, "I respect your feelings, but my answer is still no." Limit contact if necessary. Some people will never respect your boundaries. If they keep crossing the line, it may be time to distance yourself. Takeaway: a person who respects you will also respect your limits. If someone consistently ignores your boundaries, they don't deserve access to you. Have you ever tried to speak, only to have someone constantly interrupt you before you can finish your sentence? Interrupting isn't just a bad habit, it's a sign of disrespect. A person who values you will give you the space to express yourself. But those who constantly cut you off are sending a message: what they have to say is more important than what you're saying. How does this show up? They jump in and talk over you as if your words don't matter. They steer the conversation back to themselves. They don't even realize they've interrupted, because they never truly listen. This behavior isn't just frustrating, it diminishes your presence. If you let it slide, they will continue to overshadow your voice. How can you handle this? Pause and reclaim your space. Stop talking when they interrupt, and then firmly resume where you left off, as I was saying. Call it out calmly. If it's a pattern, say, "I noticed you often cut me off. I'd really appreciate it if you let me finish before responding." Choose who you engage with. You deserve conversations where you feel heard, not just tolerated. If someone repeatedly dismisses your voice, consider whether they deserve your attention at all. Takeaway: your words have value. And if someone constantly interrupts, it's not just their bad manners, it's their way of making sure you never feel important. Don't let them succeed. Have you ever reached out to someone, only to be met with silence? Maybe you sent a message, but it was ignored. Or you tried to have a conversation, only for them to cut you off completely. This isn't just avoidance, it's emotional manipulation. The silent treatment is a powerful tool used by those who want to control you. Instead of resolving conflicts through communication, they withdraw, making you feel anxious, guilty, and desperate for their approval. How does this show up? They stop responding to your messages or calls when they're upset. They ignore you in social situations, acting like you don't exist. They use silence as punishment, making you feel like you did something wrong. This tactic isn't about space, it's about power. They make you feel like you have to earn their attention back. How can you handle this? Refuse to play their game. If they go silent, don't chase after them. Respect yourself enough to walk away from manipulative behavior. Confront the pattern. If this is a repeated issue, call it out. "I noticed that when you're upset, you stop talking to me." That's not a healthy way to deal with problems. Set clear boundaries. If they continue to use silence to manipulate you, reconsider if this person deserves a place in your life. Takeaway: healthy relationships are built on communication, not manipulation. Silence should be a moment for reflection, not a weapon for control. Have you ever been in a situation where no matter how much effort you put in, it's never enough? Every action you take is met with criticism, not encouragement. This is a classic sign of emotional undermining. Instead of supporting you, these people focus on pointing out your flaws, making you feel like you constantly need to prove yourself. But here's the truth, you don't owe anyone an explanation for your worth. How does this manifest? They downplay your achievements. It's not a big deal, anyone could do that. They constantly compare you to others, why can't you be more like? They offer no encouragement, only judgment. This behavior isn't about helping you improve, it's about control. They want you to feel inadequate so that they can maintain the upper hand. How can you handle this? Recognize the pattern, understand that their criticism is not a reflection of your abilities, but of their own insecurity. Stop seeking validation from them. The more you try to gain their approval, the more they will withhold it. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, invest in relationships that celebrate your growth rather than diminish your confidence. Takeaway: you don't have to prove your worth to anyone. The right people will see your value without you having to fight for it. Have you ever noticed that some people only show up when they need something? They expect your help, your time, and your support, but when you need them, they disappear. This is what we call a one-sided relationship. It's built on convenience, not mutual care or respect. How does this manifest? They always ask for favors but never return them. They take your kindness for granted and assume you'll always be available. When you reach out for support, they suddenly become too busy. Here's the hard truth: a real relationship, whether it's a friendship, a romantic connection, or even a work partnership, is based on reciprocity. If someone is only in your life to take, they are not really in your life at all. How can you handle this? Stop overgiving, recognize when you are giving too much and receiving nothing in return. Test the relationship, stop reaching out first. See if they ever check in on you without needing something. Say no without guilt. You are not obligated to be someone's emotional or financial support system if they don't do the same for you. Takeaway: relationships should be balanced. If you're always the one giving while they're always the one taking, it's not a real relationship, it's an emotional transaction. Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, it's never enough for someone? That no matter how hard you try, they always expect more, and you're constantly chasing their approval? This is a classic manipulation tactic. Some people keep you feeling not good enough on purpose. Why? Because if they make you doubt yourself, they can control you. How does this manifest? They constantly compare you to others, making you feel inadequate. They rarely acknowledge your efforts, but they're quick to criticize your mistakes. You feel like you have to prove your worth to be accepted. Here's the truth: you don't have to prove anything to anyone. Real love, respect, and friendship come from people who accept you as you are, not from those who make you feel like you have to earn their approval. How do you reclaim your confidence? Stop seeking validation, understand that your worth isn't dependent on someone else's approval. Recognize the manipulation: if someone always makes you feel inferior, they're likely doing it on purpose. Surround yourself with the right people, be with those who appreciate you, not those who make you feel small. Takeaway: you deserve relationships that empower you, not ones that make you feel like you're never enough. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling drained, exhausted, or emotionally depleted? As if the person you were with had just sucked all the energy out of you. This is not a coincidence. Some people drain you because they take more than they give. They fill the space with negativity, demand constant attention, or leave you questioning your worth. How does this manifest? You feel anxious before meeting them but relieved when it's over. They dominate conversations, leaving no space for you to express yourself. They always have a problem, but never listen when you need support. Your body is telling you something. Exhaustion isn't just about being tired, it's often a sign of emotional imbalance. How do you protect yourself? Pay attention to your emotions. If someone always leaves you feeling drained, it's not a healthy relationship. Limit exposure, reduce the time you spend with those who deplete you. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. You deserve connections that energize, not exhaust you. Takeaway: your time and energy are valuable. If someone constantly drains you, it's time to reconsider their place in your life. Taking back your confidence and power, 1800 hours 25:00. Introduction. Recognizing the signs is one thing, but how do you reclaim your confidence after being undervalued for so long? 1. Redefine your self-worth, 18 to 2000 hours. Many people lose confidence because they allow others to dictate their value. But your worth is not defined by anyone else's recognition, it comes from within. Practical steps. Write down your strengths. Make a list of things you are proud of, your achievements, skills, and unique qualities. Challenge negative self-talk. If you hear a voice saying, "I'm not good enough," replace it with, "I am capable and deserving." Affirmations. Start your day by reminding yourself, "I am valuable. My worth does not depend on anyone else's approval." If you don't recognize your own worth, others won't either. 2. Set clear boundaries, 20 to 2200 hours. One of the reasons people disrespect you is because you allow them to. The ability to say, "no," is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. How to set boundaries. Stop explaining your decisions. A simple, "no," is enough. Recognize that saying, "no," doesn't make you selfish, it makes you strong. If someone consistently oversteps your boundaries, walk away. A person who respects you will respect your boundaries. If they don't, they never respected you in the first place. 3. Distance yourself from energy drainers, 2200 hours 25:00. Toxic people drain your energy, not because you're weak, but because they are empty. You are not responsible for carrying someone else's negativity. Steps to protect your energy. Prioritize relationships that make you feel empowered. Observe how you feel after interacting with someone. If you always feel exhausted, reduce contact. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, not those who pull you down. Your energy is sacred. Don't waste it on people who don't appreciate you. Final takeaway: reclaiming your confidence is about shifting your mindset. You don't need to prove your worth, just start living like you know it. Have you ever encountered people like this? Share your story in the comments. Engagement questions. Have you recognized any of these signs in your life? What will you change after watching this video? If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with those who need to hear this. Closing message. You are not alone in facing disrespect and manipulation. Many people experience this daily, often without realizing it. But the moment you start recognizing the signs, you gain back your power. The more you understand, the stronger you become. Life is too short to be surrounded by those who undermine your worth. You have the right to demand respect, to set boundaries, and to walk away from those who refuse to see your value. Self-worth is not negotiable. So take a moment, look at the people in your life. Are they lifting you up, or are they subtly tearing you down? The choice of who stays in your life is yours. If this message resonates with you, make sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Let's build a community of strong, self-respecting individuals. See you in the next video. Stay strong.